Abner Benaim is the director and writer of Plaza Catedral, Panama's entry for Best International Feature Film at the 94th Academy Awards. I'm Denton Davidson for Gold Derby. And Abner, your film has been shortlisted in this international feature category, which makes it the first from Panama to do so. So I was curious, how did you learn about being shortlisted, first of all, and how does that feel to represent Panama for the first time?
Oh, it was actually a funny story because I was here, I was at home, and all of a sudden I got a bunch of messages, but way before the announcement, I got a bunch of messages congratulating me, and I was a little worried because is this true? Is it not? I didn't want to get too excited, and it seems like one reporter somewhere in the world tweeted that we were shortlisted and then erased it. So I said, okay, it's either a mistake, he got it wrong, or he got it too early. I'm not gonna start going crazy. I'll just do the dishes and not look at my phone. And that's what I did for about an hour. And then then the phone started buzzing like crazy and said, okay, it's real. So it was, an exciting moment. I was, it was, I thought I was having a heart attack for a little bit there, but no, I mean, it's really, seriously, it's really good for the film in the sense that, just before that, we were, a very small film from a very small country, and like any independent film, just struggling to get some visibility. And then all of a sudden, we have that visibility. We're in the short list. We're in 15 names, and the rest of the films that are there are very important films from all over the world, and important in the sense that they're either from very well-known directors or they won at Cannes or something, and so it was, it was really an important moment for the film, for me, for Panama. It's been good.
And it was recently purchased by Samuel Goldwyn Films, and it will open in Los Angeles on January 28th. So that has to feel good as well. Is that part of the recognition that this sort of helps boost, as now more people will be able to access the film, which is really what you want? I mean, you want people to see the film.
Completely. That's the end goal. We want the film to be watched by as many people as possible all over the world, and for the message of the film to carry through, and for people to connect, because that's the thing with these kind of films, with smaller films. What may be hard to do is not so much get the film done, but to get people to watch it, because where do you find out about them? And now that people have found out about it, it's great, and that we have distribution. And Goldwyn is incredible because it's the same people who, they distributed Another Round last year, which won the Oscars. So they know what they're doing, with films that are competing in the Oscars, and it's just, it's a very good distributor. So we're happy. We're happy that it's found its place in the U.S. and Canada at least, and we're in talks to distribute it also in Latin America. So it's all very good. Yeah.
And I want to talk about the film itself now. It's about this woman, Alicia, who's grief-stricken, and it's caused her to become estranged from society. And she forms an unlikely bond with a 14-year-old boy who looks after people's cars. And she doesn't really trust him. She thinks he's a hustler, and he's even admitted that he's been involved with gangs. But there's one day that he stumbles into her house bleeding, and the bond forms, and we go from there. You wrote this film as well as directed it. What inspired that story for you, and why did you want to tell this?
Well, I think a very large part of the inspiration was to talk about that divide that happens between people of any different background, and sometimes even very, very close ties, like family or couples, where you feel that you want to say something and you feel that you want to be closer to the other person or that you want to open up and you don't. And that feeling was maybe the starting point for the film. Then it became, about this woman who needs somebody and the kid who needs somebody, and they don't really know it or they don't accept it. And they sort of stumble upon each other and end up opening up one for the other, and that changes their life. So it is in a very specific social socioeconomic class conflict that or not, I don't know if to call it conflict, but a very wide gap that we have in Panama. But it's not only about that kind of relationship. It could be with any relationship.
And Fernando Xavier de Costa plays Chief, the 14-year-old boy that Alicia forms this bond with. And he's so great in this movie. It's just like star power oozing from this child. And he was tragically murdered in June of 2021, just a few months before this film was released. So can you talk about how you first discovered Fernando and how you knew he was the right person to play this role?
Well, that star power that you very well described, you could see him in him from the first day that he walked into the first session of casting. We did very simple tests and we recorded them, and he was just outstanding. He was charming, smart, and natural, and he was very good with his body. He was a contemporary dancer, and he played soccer. And he was just, and he had exactly also the right age that I was looking for. He was 13 going on to 14 when I met him, or maybe 12 going to 13 and 13 going to 14 when we shot the film, because it took about a year since we met him until we actually started shooting. And he was exactly in that point where he was turning from a boy to a man, and his voice showed that, and his spirit. He was very little, but he acted like a grown up. And I mean, he was just it's just horrible that he's not here with us. He would be fun to have in these interviews.
Yeah. Are you able to speak about what happened to him, or has there been a resolution to that, or is there none yet?
I mean, not really. What happened is what we do know is that he was shot in a neighborhood that wasn't in his neighborhood, in another neighborhood in Panama, and late at night, and he was there in a taxi, and his grandmother says that he was there looking for a girlfriend. Some other people said that it was gang related. The fact is that it was violent, and he was a victim of the pandemic in a way, because he was on his way to being saved with the dancing, with this film, with a lot of people who cared for him. His grandmother did an incredible job of raising him, and he would be he was okay in school, and I mean everything was going well, but I think during the pandemic and so long without school and not being able to go to the dance academy either, and he just he got in trouble, and one day I don't know exactly what the circumstances were, but in any case, I see it all as one big trouble, big problematic package, which is the lack of opportunities that he had. There's so much lacking for a kid growing up in a neighborhood like that. The support from the family is can carry you all that way. It's if you slip, it's very hard to get back out and to stay, you know, in the way to getting saved, in the sense of getting out of the usual destiny for those kids, which is either to end up in jail or to be killed very, very early on. And they know it. Once they get in the gangs, they know it. And they act like they don't care, but of course, you know, but we should care.
Yeah. And it's so parallel to some of the struggles his character was going through in the film as well.
Yeah, that was very strange because, you know, I would have preferred it to be just a film, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, too real.
Alicia is played by Ilse Salas, who leads this film and really is able to draw the audience into her life. She's an incredible Mexican actress. What was it about Ilse that wanted you to cast her in this role? And can you talk about her performance?
Yeah, well, I agree. I mean, she's really one of the best in Mexico, one of the best in Latin America. So it was really an honor and, you know, quite a luxury to work with her. I asked her, you know, to play the lead, and we sent her the script, and that was pretty much it. Because, you know, with the script in hand, she read it and she agreed, and we met once to get to know each other in person in I don't know, in a coffee shop in Mexico, and that was it. You know, from there we just started working. She connected with the material.
Mm.
And for me, it was a no-brainer. I mean, the minute she accepted, I was just happy and started working with her. And the kind of work that we did was very much about the drama. You know, it wasn't like, okay, you should play it this way or that way. It was more thinking about the script together and figuring out how her character would develop and where would she be restrained and where would she open up a little bit more, and you know, very nuanced. So it was very, very special to work in that way, because I felt that the basics I didn't even have to talk to her about. You know, she got it all, and her instincts are very, very good, and I trust them. You know, so, and I guess she trusted me as a director too. So it went well. We had a very interesting experience shooting it together, and you know, and because Fernando was there in almost every scene, he kept it all very fresh, you know, because she would come in 100% ready with the lines and everything, and she knew where she was in the film, and then he would, you know, not throw her off balance, but throw her curveballs, you know, because he didn't even have the script. I never showed it to him, so I would just tell him what's going to happen in that scene, so he would play it very naturally. And that would all, you know, that would also, and Ilse reacted really well to that, because not everyone can take that, but Ilse was into it. She, you know, she wanted that challenge. She had never done a role with a non-actor, so you know, she took a huge risk just coming to Panama, because she was already at a very, you know, good place as an actress in Mexico. She didn't need this risk to go there. She never met the kid that was going to act in front of her. She met him when she was in Panama. Wow. You know, and lucky for us, it was Fernando, and things worked really well. The chemistry between them was like that. Also off camera, you know, they were really special together. But so yeah, but there was a high risk and I guess a high payoff also.
Yeah, they had great chemistry. And the film really is focused on these two, and it's sort of a quiet movie, or it starts that way maybe, but there's also this thriller aspect to it. It's really well paced, where you sort of feel, even though it's sort of just happening in an apartment, there's a pacing and an urgency that kind of keeps you on edge throughout the film. Can you talk about the way you wanted audiences to feel while watching it? Because I feel like it could have been very tamed, but there's sort of this intensity throughout it that's
yeah,
I found.
I mean, I think, yeah, I wanted that, and you know, we always describe the film as a drama with touches of thriller, you know.
Mm.
And I did want that, but I don't really know how how I guess it came together mostly in the editing, the pace, of course, but well, the shooting also. Because some of it is, as you saw, that some of them are, you know, the scenes are uncut, um, and I guess it was important for me to try and show the least possible information each time that would keep you interested, but keep you tense. You know, so it was like, okay, if I say all this, okay, then the rest of the film becomes boring. If I only say this part now, and then you know, we learn later this and that and that, and it starts adding up together. And you know, it was like that from the script, but keeping it that way was, um, I think, in very large part, work with the editor, Soledad Salfate. She's a really great editor from Chile, and trusting that the audience will understand everything and they don't need much more information, and that it's better to be on the tense side and on the smart side of being a viewer. Because, you know, as a viewer, I always like, we all love that moment where, you know, we say, this is going to happen, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
But you're there, you're tense, and you're thinking, oh, it's probably this. Oh, and you're guessing, but you're guessing in the right direction, in the direction of the film, not, you know, you're not guessing like who's behind the camera or, you know, other stuff that's not in the film that takes you away from the film. So if you're guessing forward, and I think that tension, yeah, I guess it works. Also, the music has that purpose in the film. In very many parts, it's there to build that, or to show her emotions when we feel like almost nothing is happening, but the music guides you in her head. So when there's those moments where nothing is really happening, but you can go inside her head, if it, you know, if it happens like that way as an audience, then you know, you're inside. The problem with, or the risk is always like, well, oh, what if you lose the audience? You know, what if they're not engaged? But you have to take risks like that, because if not, everything becomes very flat.
Yeah. And there's a mystery about both of the characters as well. I like to go into movies knowing nothing if I can. I hate trailers,
Yeah.
and I won't read about it if I can avoid it before I see it. And the characters, like, you want to trust Chief, but you don't know if you do, and you want to like Alicia, but you're not sure if you do. So it's fascinating to watch their stories sort of unravel and come out together. And then it's sort of ultimately about how far are you willing to go for a stranger? Is that sort of the main theme, or what do you want people to take away from your film?
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the main themes. It's something, you know, it's, in a way, you know, the plot of this film, if it was in real life, it would have probably ended halfway through when he comes asking for help, and she says, well, listen, I'm so sorry, but I can't help you. Sorry. He closes the door. That's most of the time what happens in reality. So I wanted to use this film to explore, okay, what if she opens the door? And of course, it's a symbolic door. You know, it's a real door because she opens the door to her house, but it's also a symbol for so many other things, where you're opening up your soul to another person, and he opens up to her. More importantly, you know, he, who doesn't trust anyone, starts trusting her. And so I did, you know, I think it's about that. It's about solidarity. It's about how far you're going to go to help someone else, um, to help a stranger, in the sense also that sometimes we think of strangers or as people who are absolutely disconnected from us, and we have nothing to do with their life and they have nothing to do with ours. You know, that's a definition. But in the end, everyone affects each other's lives. You know, we can't look at the map and say, oh no, that's in Africa. It doesn't matter. It's far from here. Or you know, and the pandemic came to show us that in a very harsh lesson. Like, okay, world, get together now because you need to. You know, you can't just be saying like, oh no, that happens in that bad neighborhood. It has nothing to do with me. And that's what we usually say. We live with blinders. We almost have to live with blinders in any place in the world we are, because if not, you would have to be. I mean, if you go all the other way and you're helping people all the time, then you know you have no time for your own life. Is what people say. But I do think that there can be a you know a place somewhere in between where you live your life and are aware of others. And I say it to myself as well. I'm not preaching. You know, I have a lot to learn from that too. Um, so, but I think yeah, we all have to like you know pay more attention to the other.
Well, Abner, thank you for taking the time to speak with Gold Derby about your film Plaza Catedral. It's a captivating film from Panama, and we wish you the best of luck this award season. As I stated earlier, it's being released in the United States, at least in Los Angeles for now, on January 28th. And to our viewers watching, head over to goldderby.com, make your awards predictions, and check out more interviews with top contenders like Abner. Thank you again.
Thank you, Denton.